Hi, I'm Molly Whittington, and for this unit's vlog, I'm going to be busting the myth that all adolescents during the adolescent phase in life are terrible and we go crazy and so on and so forth. So for this, I want to start with an exercise, and I want you guys to think back to just a few years ago. For some of us, it's still happening. And I wanted to think about the random mood swings and how uncomfortable we were in our own bodies and the acne, and how it was all just crazy. The way our bodies were changing and how we didn't really know how to deal with it and how all the hormones were affecting all of us. Um, so I want you to just think about that. And then I want you to think about like if we were all crazy during this time. And were the pronounced terrible teen years really all that they were cracked up to be? So I'm going to interview some people to see if it was really true and see how terrible they were in their teen years. I'm going to range from people in their teens now to people who are about 30 or 40.
Okay, can you state your full name and your age, please?
Kristen Stouffer, 54.
Nice. Okay, so I'm doing a project on adolescence. So my first question is, do you feel like the adolescent years are a dark and scary time for adolescent children?
No, I don't.
Why so?
I think they're a year of development in a positive way. I think they're a year where you discover who you are. And that actually can be both exciting and somewhat anxiety provoking, but I wouldn't call it dark and scary.
And was adolescence a time of turmoil for you?
I think adolescence can definitely be tumultuous because there's so many things going on inside the adolescent body and the adolescent brain. And so as much as you're discovering who you are, you're also struggling with having one foot in your childhood and one foot in your adulthood. And that can feel really unsettling and sometimes really overwhelming.
My name is Avery Klosser, and I am 21 years old.
Okay. So being on the tail end of adolescence, do you feel like adolescence is a dark and scary time?
I don't think so. I think there's definitely like a lot of changes that happen that can be kind of scary and alarming. But I think for the most part, I've kind of accepted adolescence as like a more fun time of my life.
Did you argue with your parents a lot as an adolescent teenager?
No, I did not. I had a really excellent relationship with my parents.
Was adolescence a time of turmoil for you? Internal or external turmoil?
At times, but overall, no. I think average like high school drama is probably like the most amount of turmoil that I ever really saw. Just kind of like figuring out who your friends were, I think, is like the biggest issue of turmoil in my life. And I guess the divorce of my parents is probably the other biggest issue of turmoil that I experienced as an adolescent.
Okay, go for it.
My name is Aiden Long, and I'm 14 years old.
Do you feel different since the adolescent stage of your life?
I feel more responsible. Like, I don't have to be carried around by adults as much and kind of make my own decisions more.
How often do you argue with your parents, if at all?
Just about like little things, nothing really ever big, kind of normal, parent to child things.
Do you see people in your age group that are entering the stage of adolescence flying off the handles, or for better wording, going wild and crazy and kind of making bad decisions?
I think it's there's a certain group of kids my age that kind of do go and do wild stuff that's, not good, but then there's also the kind of more matured group who kind of understand what's right and wrong from the start.
Cool, thanks.
So just to prove that there is like some overlap that parents and like older people think that adolescence is just a crazy time in life. There was a study done in a pediatric hospital that revealed that 62% of medical residents, people who were training to be doctors, and 58% of nurses agreed that the majority of adolescents showed neurotic and antisocial behavior sometime during adolescence. So they practically thought that our mood swings and our craziness were all due just to adolescence, and it wasn't due to something like depression or anxiety, which is the cause and the root of most of the terrible teenage years and why teenagers get such a bad rep. So, although there are rumors going around that adolescents are just terrible and it's the worst phase of life besides the terrible twos, there are 3 things that seem to be pretty true about American adolescence. First off, according to Larson, Coy, and Collins, conflicts escalate with parents during the teen years. I mean, of course, kids fight with their parents. It seems pretty normal. This is a really weird phase in life where kids are expected to act like adults, yet they're still treated like children. They aren't given the freedom. Some kids can't drive. So it's just like a really fluctuating path where kids don't feel like they have the freedom and the need to do what they feel like they should be able to do as young adults or adolescents. Second, teens report more mood changes and more extreme moods than do non-teens. In a research study done by Buchanan, Eccles, and Becker, this is a time when all of our hormones are changing and we have a chemical imbalance in our brains, so we don't really know what to do with ourselves. And so, yeah, we're going to have mood swings. One minute we're super happy because there's a lot of dopamine, and we're all just trying to figure out like how our brain's working and why it's working the way it does. Another study done by Reyna and Farley, this is the third sequence, it was done in 2006, that teens are more likely to take physical risks. I mean, why not? We're young, we heal faster, why not take them now? Why would we take dumb, stupid risks when we're 60? So, the dangers of doing crazy things are linked to the hormone imbalance in our brains that I talked about earlier. Our heightened sense of impulse is due to our fluctuating dopamine levels, and I think it's probably just like a crazy time in life, and every kid's just trying to figure out, like, oh, well, in order for me to be happy, I need to be cool with this kid, so why not jump off this bridge? Like, I think it would be really fun to jump into a bunch of water. And this kid may break his leg. He may be fine. You never know. So, of those 3 occurrences that can happen in some adolescents, and the key word there is some, studies have been done by 2 scientists, Offer and Schoner-Reichel, show that about 20% of adolescents undergo this terrible turmoil called adolescence. The other 80% are pretty harmonious. They're pretty cool with their parents and peers, but we're all human, right? We can all get a little upset and a little angry with the people around us, and that's just all that it is of being human. I think the other 20% is really due to those kids who are filled with anxiety and depression and don't know where to have an outlet and what to do with it. And so that's busting that psych myth is yes, adolescence is like a weird time and stuff happens, and this is a time when lots of kids are changing, but it's not abnormal to take risks, to be a little moody. It's pretty normal. So that's all I have for you. Thank you guys.